Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to break down why Scott Norwood missed the game-winning field goal in Super Bowl 25 against the Giants. Now, in my opinion, it all came down to alignment and the way he aligns for each field goal kick, and the way we've been talking about everything being on right angles and how Norwood did it differently. He's measuring out his steps. Here we go. He's about to measure out his steps. And now, look at how he does it. And look at where he's lined up. So he's gone back on an angle and then taken just one step to the left, being a right-footed kicker. Now he's on the hash. The hashes are in line with the goalposts. So if he had gone directly back and directly across and followed the hash marks and then the, the 45-yard line, 40-yard line, and kicked it straight, he still would have hit the post. But because his approach is on an angle, let's have a look at that again. He goes back, instead of going in a straight line, even straight back, or even straight with his target point, which is what I suggest every kicker does, and every kicker in the NFL does now. He goes back on an angle, and then expect consistency every single time. But it doesn't guarantee consistency. In fact, it nearly always guarantees inconsistency. And then, as you can see, takes a step, just one, to his left. Now let's have a look at the kick. We're going to do this in slow motion. Frame by frame. I do apologize for how blurry this is, but this is the only footage I could get. So the snap looked fine. You can't see a lot from that angle as far as his approach or where his plant foot landed. But his hips are closing there. His follow through looks fine, and that ball is up and wide. So we can't see a lot from that angle. So as you can see, with Norwood missing, wide right, it goes down in history, this one. But because his alignment wasn't calculated, and because it wasn't this, well, I assume it's not the same every time going back on an angle, it's really, really hard to tell what your angle needs to be. So I recommend, this is a perfect argument as to why kickers need to go directly backwards, line up with the center of the goalpost, and then take their steps across. Because at very minimum, it will give you a consistent approach to the ball. And that's what we need before we make contact. We need a consistent approach. We need that plant foot landing in exactly the right spot, and we need it there every single time. Now, sometimes wind can create a variation, sometimes rain can create a variation, but it doesn't matter, because every single time we're taking our steps backwards and then across. We can't be going back on an angle and guessing, because this is what happens. You lose Super Bowls. Scott Norwood and this field goal, this missed field goal in Super Bowl 25, is one of the most iconic missed field goals in history. And it's so important to analyze why the miss happened. Even though we have limited camera angles, we can still see, because of the inconsistency in his alignment, he wasn't able to put the ball through the uprights.
Here we go with 8 seconds to play. High drama here in the Super Bowl.
Snap, spot, in the air. It's got the distance. It is no good.